All right, Shalom. I want to give all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahawashi Bahasham, Rakah Kwadash. Double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone who does lead and rule well. Salutations and Shalom also to you, Akim, that's pushing out this word in truth and in sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth. And sincere Shalom also to you, Akim and Aqua, for listening and learning, preparing themselves here in these last days. And to the entire household of faith that's fighting this good fight of faith, I want to say Shalom. This is your brother Dakar from the DC camp. Come back at you another lesson. And I'm entitled this one, Stop Kicking Against the Pricks. All right. And, this is a idiom, that's you think about in the book of Acts when the Lord confronted Saul, whose name was changed to Paul after that, man, the Apostle Paul, and pretty much, this lesson is going to be, centered around, when you resist in the Lord's will, you only hurting yourself in the process, man. And that's what it means to kick against the pricks. Because in the ancient times, a prick or a goad, as they called it, it was a sharp stick that was used to guide oxen, and if they kicked against it, they hurt themselves, and that was how they was able to guide themselves. So, it's the same thing with us, man. The Lord directs us, and a lot of time, we be resisting it. We be trying to fight against that because we want to fulfill our own will. A lot of times it's fulfilling the will of the flesh, So then you have suffering. You're going to end up suffering because of it, man. And then when you finally submit, then you'll get that peace, because you settled into your destiny. So, Lord's willing, this lesson may be edified. Before I started, let me get the AI part that breaks down the idiom. It says, stop kicking against the pricks is an idiom meaning to stop fighting a losing battle or resisting authority/divine guidance, which only causes oneself more pain. Originating from the Bible, Acts 9:5 and Acts 26:14, it refers to an ox kicking against a sharp, prodding stick, goad, diving it deeper into its own flesh. Yeah, man, like sometimes, you keep trying to get a particular job and you the Lord ain't letting you get that. That door still closed unto you because it can hurt you in your spiritual walk, or you trying to get a woman, and the Lord just not allowing it to happen, man. You doing different things, wasting money, whatever the situation may be. The Lord, because the Lord controls all these things, and he can, if you are one of his, he'll keep you from destroying yourself, so let me get the first scripture. Wait, it was a little bit more. It says, Yahawashi said this to Saul, later Paul, on the road to Damascus, implying that Saul's persecution of Christians was futile, self-destructive fight against the Most High. Like, what the scripture say, let them alone, because they only going to be fighting against the Lord, but it's a definition. It symbolizes wasting energy by protesting or rebelling against irresistible forces, facts, or an inevitable divine direction. Metaphorical application, it says it is used to describe stubbornness that leads to unnecessary suffering, encouraging acceptance of guidance or a change in direction. It suggests that yielding to the inevitable will result in less pain than continued resistance. All right. So, first scripture I'm going to get is the one that they talked about, Acts 9, because it talks about that, or it mentions the idiom, which, that's where I got it from. But this was Saul converting. That one all the way to the bottom. All right, this is Acts 9:3. Says, and as he journeyed, he came near Damascus, and suddenly there shined round about him a light from heaven, and he fell to the earth and heard a voice saying unto him, Saul, Saul, why persecutest thou me? And he said, Who art thou, Lord? And the Lord said, I am Yahawashi, whom thou persecutest. It is hard for thee to kick against the pricks. And he said, and he, trembling and astonished, said, Lord, what wilt thou have me to do? And the Lord said unto him, Arise and go into the city, and it shall be told thee what thou must do. So, hey, at that moment, he knew that Yahawashi was that guy. Because he know that Yahawashi died, you know? And they was persecuting the church, the ones that was teaching in the name of Yahawashi, right? But then when Yahawashi visited him, he knew what was the truth. Now, he was devout. He was just devout in the wrong way, fighting against the very destiny that the Lord had for him, man. You know, and a lot of us in our own minds maybe trying to fight against that. You know, trying to make what is it, like, make something of yourself here. Not saying be a bum, you know, but your priorities need to be straight, man. You know, again, seeing all these things is going to be dissolved. What manner of person ought you to be? Is all these other things worth it? Is your salvation worth it? You know? And it already broke down what it meant, you know? So when you kick against that prick, it can hurt, you know, but it could stop you from going in that direction, you know. So in our terms, what it looks like, you fighting against the Lord's will, you fighting against his correction, his calling, you know, in this mission, this discipleship, man. And they're only going to create more trouble for yourself, especially if you are one of his, which leads me to what? My example. I got it in Jonah, right? We all know the story of Jonah. It says, Jonah 1:1, it says, Now the word of Yahweh came unto Jonah, the son of Amittai, I'm saying that wrong, saying, Arise, go to Nineveh, the great city, and cry against it, for their wickedness is come up before me. But Jonah rose up to flee unto Tarshish from the presence of Yahweh, and went down to Joppa, and he found a ship going to Tarshish. So he paid the fare thereof, and went down into it to go with them into Tarshish from the presence of Yahweh. So he didn't want to do what the Lord told him to do, because hey, we all know it. This walk can be difficult. You know, you tell Jake what they hate, and then they hate you. You lose family, friends, woman, you know, money, job opportunities, whatever. But that's the cost of the discipleship, man. You know. Because and then what did the Lord do? It says, but Yahweh sent out a great wind into the sea, and there was a mighty tempest into the sea, so that the ship was like to be broken. You know, so what happened, man? He tried to run from his assignment, and the Lord sent the storm, man. Now afterwards, I'm not gonna read the whole story, but what? Jonah ended up getting overthrown, swallowed into the fish, which is likened into hell, man. Right? So only after he had to suffer did he obey, when he could have just obeyed. He gonna have to go through it anyway. If you one of the Lord's, he gonna make you do it, man. No matter what little doubts you may have, man. You know? Because what? The Lord is he gonna force that alignment with his will. You know? Which is your purpose. This is the whole duty of man. You know? If your name is written in a book, you had a particular role to play. All right? So you running from it is just going to cause you, a little bit of trouble, man. Some chaos in your life, man. Now, also, although not being an Israelite, it made me think of the story of Balaam, when he was fighting against the Lord's direction, right? Now, this is in the book of Numbers 22. I'm just trying to see where I want to start at. I'm gonna start at 22. It says the angel and Balaam. All right. It says and the Most High's anger was kindled because he went, and the angel of Yahweh stood in the way for an adversary against him. Now he was riding upon his ass, which is a donkey, and his 2 servants were with him. All right, yeah, because he was mad that he went. You know, like you about to come up against the people of the Lord. But it says, and the ass saw the angel, and the ass saw the angel of Yahweh standing in the way, and his sword drawn in his hand. And the ass turned aside out of the way and went into the field. And Balaam smote the ass to turn her into the way. But the angel of Yahweh stood in the path of the vineyards, and a wall being on the side, and a wall on that side. And when the ass saw the angel of Yahweh, she thrust herself into the wall and crushed Balaam's foot against the wall, and he smote her again. And the angel of Yahweh went further and stood in a narrow place where no way to turn either to the right hand or to the left. So you can see how the Most High, he going to control your steps, man. It says that when the ass saw the angel of Yahweh, she fell down under Balaam, and Balaam's anger was kindled, and she smote the ass with a staff. And Yahweh opened the mouth of the ass, and she said unto Balaam, what have I done unto thee, that thou hast smitten me 3 times? And Balaam said unto the ass, because thou hast mocked me, I would there were a sword in my hand, for now I will kill thee. And the ass said unto Balaam, am I not thine ass, upon which thou hast ridden ever since I was thine unto this day? Was I ever wont to do so unto thee? And he said, nay. Then Yahweh opened the eyes of Balaam, and he saw the angel of Yahweh standing in the way, and his sword drawn in his hand, and he bowed down his head and fell flat on his face. You know? It says, and the angel of Yahweh said unto him, wherefore hast thou smitten thine ass 3 times? Behold, I went out to withstand thee, because thy way is perverse before me. And the ass saw me and turned from me these 3 times, unless she had turned from me. Surely now also I had slain thee and saved her alive. So the donkey kept stopping because the angel was blocking the path, man, and it would have smoked Balaam, killed him, but he kept beating the donkey because he didn't understand. So sometimes, man, the obstacles you fighting is the Lord protecting you, man. You trying to fight, the Lord setting up stuff that's there to protect you. Doors closing on you, plans that you had failing. These things is going to happen. Relationships ending, even. Opportunities you might have had, it don't happen no more. It don't feel good. But guess what? It might be protection, divine protection, man. All that frustration, it can be helping you, man. Now we supposed to be exercising the spirit. Like we don't see like the miracles that we seen in the ancient world, but because we exercise in the spirit, we supposed to know these things, man. When certain things not how, okay, what are you trying to tell me, Lord? What is it that I should be doing? Because you keep the worst thing that can happen is your heart is just hardened and you can't accept the Lord. You don't recognize when the Lord is speaking, and you can't accept when he's closing certain doors, man. Your heart is hardened. You see what he did when he hardened Pharaoh's heart, and more and more plagues kept coming. But that's because he didn't want him, right? And also because he got destroyed. You know what I'm saying? Also, for us, he won't allow it to happen, man. What else? I already had that. Oh, that's what I was thinking. When we was in the wilderness, Jake kept wanting to go back. Even though he was leading us into a promised land, man. Israel, we kept resisting the Lord's deliverance, man. Complaining and stuff, man. So sometimes you want to go with what's familiar to you, but you're not actually, that's not going to lead you to the salvation, man. All right. Let me get a few more scripts, this is Proverbs 26 and verse 11. It says, as a dog returneth to his vomit, so a fool returneth to his folly. So, hey, you keep repeating the same. That's the definition of insanity, right? Repeating destructive behavior. After you already keep seeing the same consequences. That's what makes me think of you keep kicking against the pricks, man. It ain't working. Why you keep trying? The Lord doesn't want that for you, man. Even if it's a woman, the scripture says the portion of a righteous woman is given to a righteous man, and vice versa. Sometimes you might get a woman, you might end up getting her pregnant. You the same cycle. Now you on child support again. So you got to learn when to stop fighting the spirit and stop giving into the flesh, man. You got a job or whatever. It's continuously taking away your time. But this is what the scriptures say when you don't want to heed to the warnings, right? This is let me get in the Apocrypha. I think it's Sirach. Yeah, Sirach 32 and 17. It says, a sinful man will not be reproved, but findeth an excuse according to his will. Again, it's all about his will, man. It's all about, that's stubbornness. You being stubborn, man. You being proud. That's what be hardening people and blocking them from understanding. Because you want to go according to your will rather than the will of Yahawashi, Yahawashi, man. So if you keep making the same mistakes, man, you're not showing that, you're not exercising the spirit. You're not showing that spiritual growth, man. That pride is going to prevent you from that humility, which before the humility that's when you rise. You can't keep forcing stuff that's going to keep failing, man. All right. And we see the pattern in the scriptures, man. So let me get it's another one that coming in my mind in Proverbs. Simple ones. Proverbs 3 and 5. Trust in Yahweh with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding. So, yeah, man. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, man. Don't lean into your own understanding, man. A lot of, even us, the scripture say, because usually we use the scripture for Jake in the world, how long you simple ones will you love simplicity. But in this regard, I'm going to apply it to us, man. Stop being simple. Because we constantly learning on this journey as well. Ain't none of us a finished product. We don't want to destroy ourselves on this walk. This path that the Lord set out for us, man. Don't keep chasing things that the Lord is removing, man. All right. Because the more you kick against the pricks, the more you hurting yourself, man. If you wise, you're going to recognize the correction early, and you're going to humble yourself to it, man. You're going to submit yourself to it and change your direction before you do more damage. Okay? Let me get another one, Proverbs. This is Proverbs 29 and verse 1. It says, he that being often reproved hardeneth his neck shall suddenly be destroyed, and that without remedy. All right. And so that's not what we want, man. You know, scripture says a stubborn heart is going to fare evil in the last, man. We don't want to be evil. We don't want that evil, I mean. It said, woe unto the rebellious children. We don't want that woe, that destruction, man. You know? So if you don't want that, then you just submit yourself and humble yourself to the will of the Lord, man. And not just be walking in the imaginations of your own heart. You know? So, you know, our goal is to align ourselves with the destiny that the Lord has, man. You know? The Lord be using that, the correction and all that other stuff to, you know, to redirect us, man. So you just gotta pay attention to that. And I think that's pretty much all I wanted to grab. Let me see. I'll get one more. This is Romans 8 and 28. It says, and we know that all things work together for good to them that love the Most High, to them who are called, who are the called according to his purpose. All right. So all things, man, it works for the good of us that love him. Even the door closing, because it's for the ultimate goal, man. It's for us that are called according to his purpose, man. We are doing the will of the Lord, and that's what's going to get us that glory. So, you know, those were enough edifying to the next lesson. I want to give all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahawashi Bahasham, Rakha Kodash. To the next one, I want to say shalom.